We'll call the meeting to order, and the first thing that we will do is ask Mr. Vickers to acknowledge the fact that he accepted notification of this meeting by email.
I did accept by email.
Okay. The second thing we'll do is we'll approve the minutes of our April 21st meeting. Maybe.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The next thing we're gonna do is I asked Mr. Vickers to, knowing that, last weekend, that there might have been little things going on, I asked him to be prepared to give us a recap of the elections.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So Saturday went really smooth. We had for May election, we had a pretty decent turnout. We had just over 8.5, it was 8.62%. In a typical May election, we see anywhere from 5.5 to 6. So we were, while it's rather low still for any other election, we still had a pretty decent turnout for May. Didn't have any major issues, pretty typical calls. It was a pretty quiet day. I would like to share with the Election Commission that one of our election judges called Saturday and said the Attorney General had an inspector. They were going to inspect 8 random sites to make sure we were in compliance with the third language of Vietnamese. He had already been to 3. This was his 4th site. The inspector shared with him that he did not see any irregularities.
Irregularities.
Thank you.
One of them words you gotta get a running start on, I'm just gonna tell
I'm
you.
running on an empty stomach. So, we were pleased to hear that. Everything that we've done over the last several months seemed to pay off. We're gonna continue that. We're continuing our radio and our TV campaigns and doing job fairs. So we hope to get a pool of bilingual workers that are just gonna keep growing like we have with the Spanish. But it was good news to hear from the inspector, so pretty pleased there. We will be having a few runoffs. We have 7 entities that are having 10 runoff elections, and these are unofficial right now. We're still making sure the cities and school districts that are listed match their list, but City of Arlington, single member district 3 and 5, City of Fort Worth, single member district 2, City of Haltom City, place 6, City of Keller, mayor, and place 6, City of Mansfield, place 6 and 7, City of River Oaks, place 5, and Mansfield ISD, place 6 are currently the ones that we know are having a runoff. And like I said, we're still confirming with all the 44 entities that had an election to make sure if we think they're majority or plurality that we have them on our list to confirm that. So we'll be gearing up for that over the next month. June 10th is a runoff with early voting starting on
It's like 3 weeks, isn't it?
June 1st and running through June 6th. So, had a couple close races. We do have 1 recount so far. City of Forest Hills mayor has already requested a recount. There may possibly be 1 in Keller, and I've already talked to City of Watauga's candidate. She indicated that she's not interested at this time in having a recount, but we had several close races.
That vote was 298 to 299
Wow.
How can you not want to run?
with the 1 mail ballot.
Wow. What's the, Matt, I'm curious, what is the, so if you've got, Arlington has 4 races that are 8,000 votes apart, and Mansfield has 3 that are 3,000, and then you got 1 where it's 2 votes apart. Do you move that up in the line in terms of going through things, or just, how do you do that?
Well, so there's not an automatic recount unless it's a tie vote. And so it's up to the candidate at that point to.
No, I didn't ask it right. What I really mean is like, say, Keller, for example. When we know that one's really close, do you say, you know what, let's go in first thing Monday morning and let's go through the provisionals and everything and see where that stands?
No, we don't prioritize them by races. What we do is we just go through our normal process. We go through each and every one of the provisional envelopes. We don't put any cities. We keep them in the order that we assign them to E-scan number.
Okay,
So
that's fair.
And then basically just kind of describe, I know you and I have talked a little bit about it, because I did get a call from the ex-mayor, current candidate for mayor in Keller, asking about that. So describe a little bit about those provisional ballots and the steps that are gone through in order to get those either dismissed or accepted.
Okay, so we asked the election judge if a provisional voter comes in to do it electronically. And the reason why we do that is, and there's no legal, they can do it paper or electronic, but we asked them to do it electronically because that puts it in our tally database, and then we can look and see how many provisional votes are in our system. But some voters do not want to vote electronically, and they have the right to a paper ballot if we offer it, so we will allow that. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna look at all those provisional ballots. We're gonna research them to make sure that if the voter is eligible to vote, that we count that ballot. If they did it electronically, there's a little ticker tape that the JBC produces that has a access code on it. It's like a 10-digit code. We pull up that 10-digit code and we accept that ballot or reject it, depending on our recommendations to the ballot board. If it's a paper ballot, we'll do the same thing. We just have to fire up a machine and run the paper ballot in, and then run that MBB into the totals to count it. It usually takes us 3 to 4 days, depending on how many provisional ballots we have, to process those and then get them to the ballot board. The ballot board is meeting this Friday, May 11th, to reconcile any of the provisional ballots and to reconcile any late mail that may come in.
So you make recommendations to the ballot board and then they choose to either accept or not accept your ballot,
That's
as
correct.
recommendations. Now, one other thing that as I noticed as I was looking through that, for the first time I saw some overvotes. So I asked Stephen specifically about that. He had an interesting explanation. He said, it's amazing that some people will vote for two different people in an election, so they can tell each one of their friends that, yes, I did vote for you, and not be lying to them. It's that Catholic guilt again. They want to be able to tell them.
I've actually had a
honestly,
voter tell
that
me
they
that,
voted for.
you know.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Of course, on the electronic system, if they vote early, we don't allow overvotes. If it says vote for none or one, then they can only choose one. But on paper, they can mark as many times as they want for each candidate. And then they can tell the candidates that they voted for them and not lie. So,
So I thought that was a little funny. I thought that's something that everybody might get a kick out of. Any other questions? Any thoughts? Anything along that timeline? Stephen, thank you for.
I did wanted to give you guys one more date. The entities have till May 17th to canvass their elections. And
Okay.
so May 11th, that Friday night before we leave, we'll turn over all the results official from us to them so they can make it official in their city council or board meetings to canvass their elections.
So before this Friday night, you'll turn it over,
We'll turn it over to them and they have till the 17th to canvass.
because both, you said the provisional ballot has 6 days to clear.
Provisional photo ID. A regular provisional has, we have till Friday to reconcile it. I'm sorry, Thursday to reconcile it. Photo ID one, the voter has up until Friday to come in and cure that. And then Thursday is also the late mail deadline.
Okay.
So we'll be done with our part Thursday or Friday night.
Okay.
Any
Any other questions, Stephen? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for your
At this time, we will recess our open meeting to proceed to close under section 551.07, 071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code. There's a whole lot more sections in there than what I probably needed, but we got them all covered.
Two, whatever it takes.
Having returned from our closed session and there being no action to take at this time, we are adjourned. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Thank all of y'all. Did I just call her again? No. No.